Hello, people. Do we have audio? I can check myself if we have audio. Hold on. I'm going to check on my phone. If we have audio? Yeah, we do. All right, fantastic. All right, so I'm going to be discussing the Portland protests and Trump's reaction to them. And the reason why I want to cover this is because I think it's very important for anybody that wants to pretend or actually act like that they stand for freedom of speech or freedom of expression. They can't, they can't, that they're pretending if they call it out only when the violations of freedom of speech and freedom of expression happens only on one side, right? Even if you think, even if the content creators that you follow, even if you trust them and you enjoy them, you have to become very suspicious if you notice that they're blind to they're being blind to something that is happening. They're acting like they're not seeing it and not acknowledging it. Like, it's okay if you acknowledge it and you say that, you know what, I know other stuff is happening, but my main focus is on here, which is fine. But if you pretend that, if you act like you're not covering it without even acknowledging that it exists, I'm not saying it's malicious or they're trying to fool you or anything like that, but be suspicious. Like, it seems that you're lying to me by omission. It seems like you are spreading propaganda or something like that. And the reason why I say that, oh, hi, Morpheus, TRX. The reason why I say that is because as much as me and a lot of other content creators like to, call out cancel culture and be like, oh, the woke left cancels this, they're intolerant, they want to police people's speech, or they want to, they make people deplatform people, they make people lose their Facebook pages, their Twitter accounts, or their YouTube channel, Twitch channel. Sometimes they go as far as making people lose their jobs. As bad as all of that is, it is by far worse for a government to be in charge of canceling people's speech than it is the mob or the people. Misinformed people or people with bad intentions going after what you have to say, and try to silence you is bad, and it should be called out. But if you're calling it out in one country and you're not calling it out when the government, which has a lot more authority and power, when the government is doing the same thing or far worse, I mean, that is actual violation of free speech. You could argue that the cancel culture or the woke cult coming after you, that is not actually a violation of your free speech. That is bad, and it should be a violation of something, but it's not a violation of your free speech. When the government does it, that is a violation of your free speech. So what's happening in Portland right now, I think if you notice your favorite content creator pointing out, oh my God, cancel culture, and I do the same thing. But if they're not calling this crap out in Portland by the Trump administration, and I may be wrong. I mean, you could correct me, like, Armin, you're exaggerating. It's not that, this is justified. You could call me out on a live chat right now if you want, or in the comment section. But if you're not at least trying to be like noticing this and be like, wait, what the hell? People are not people are being arrested for protesting. And again, I understand that it's not just protesting. I understand there's protesting plus riots plus violence plus looting. But it seems like the action that is being taken is not just against the looting and the violence and the looting. It seems like this is what's happening right now, and I might be wrong, and I'm covering that. But based on what I've heard, it seems like it's against peaceful protests as well, and that is a red flag. This is if people are dealing with consequences by government in United States, which is supposed to be the champion of free expression, if people are suffering, experiencing consequences for that in the United States by the government, that is 1,000 times a bigger red flag than everything cancel culture and woke cult that we combined. All of that combined. Okay, this is like. And the fact that we're not, a lot of people on my side are not at least addressing this and be like, what the hell is happening here? Why are we not calling this out? I understand that in other countries it's a lot worse. I mean, I'm from Iran, and whatever is happening in the United States is heaven compared to what like countries like China, Iran, Saudi Arabia, North Korea. But the reason why United States is more important for a lot of people to pay attention to is because United States is seen as this, like what it could be like in other countries. And if that is violated, that is used as propaganda in all of these other countries that like, look, this is your champion. This is your free speech champion. They can't even have peaceful protests over there. This has global consequences. Okay, Vabe have is saying yes, agreeing. Oh my, Julian, cut it out. I don't know what's wrong with you, Julian. Guys, please make sure that the live chat is about. Oh, hi, Marco. Live chat is about what we're going to be discussing. Discussing. Like, I want you guys to challenge me or agree with me or challenge me because I don't know if I'm getting this right. Okay? No off topic, guys. No off topic. Okay, unlucky Eddie is saying, if you throw a brick and then walk 10 feet to the side, are you still not guilty of rioting? I don't know what you're referring to, but the way that these people are being treated is collectively putting the protesters and the looters together, and the rioters and protesters together, and treating them all the same, which is not fair, in my opinion. We'll see. What I've done today is I'm going to go through this two articles from what I think is a very good unbiased source that takes all the other sources and tries to come up. Like, I think Rogue Rocket is a very good unbiased source that doesn't have any agenda. So that's what I'm using right now. You guys might disagree with it's not a source. It actually uses other sources, but it covers it in a very unbiased way, right? Tim is saying, why do I sound like Kermit the Frog? I don't know. But hey, Jordan Peterson sounds like Kermit the Frog, and it didn't stop him from becoming successful with his content, so it shouldn't stop me either. Okay. Nusantara saying, Armin, these people are being treated this way because the state is no longer a neutral instrument, neither is the media. Well, it never was. So never mind. Let's cover this. Portland protests grow as Trump administration vows to maintain presence of federal officers. We're going to go through this, and then we're going to go through some videos as well, see what's actually happening. So let's go look at the bullet points. Feel free to comment in the comment section live stream. By the way, we're live streaming on Twitch as well. Isn't that awesome? Marco is on Twitch. Okay, cool. So link to our Twitch is in the description, because I do have a lot more live streams on Twitch that it never makes it to YouTube. So follow us on Twitch as well. Anyways, so what does it say? Protests in Portland have been renewed since the Trump administration deployed federal agents to the city to crack down on the ongoing demonstration against racism and injustice. By the way, if I read anything wrong and you guys make fun of me about that, I'm going to call you out. I'm going to call you racist because English is my second language, and that's my excuse for mispronouncing anything. So fuck you for making fun of me. Fuck you in advance. But just go ahead anyways, make fun of me. It's fun. Second bullet point, since being sent to the city, the federal officers have clashed with protesters violently, deploying tear gas and less than lethal munitions and driving around in unmarked cars, detaining people. Okay, these are like unmarked cars, like cars that are not identified as being a police or whatever. I don't know, they're supposed to be. This is very important, okay? And we'll get to it why. This is like really crazy stuff, man. Like, this is not like what the US government is supposed to be acting like, okay? The deployment has been highly criticized by state and local leaders who have repeatedly asked for them to be withdrawn. Administration officials have refused to remove the agents, arguing that their presence is necessary. Okay, but just to be clear about this, this is the federal government acting against the wishes of the state governments. Okay, if this was done by Obama, I think, you could correct me, but I think a lot of these people that are silent about this or actually justifying this, a lot of those people right now would be like, oh, what happened to states' rights? States' rights, like Obama, oh my God, the tyrant, Obama, the tyrant. And this now Trump is doing it, and they're like, yes, go, law and order, right? I mean, guys, does it get any more classic giving up liberty for security than this? Like how many times do we have to replay the same movie? Like, is this like, is so, oh god. Anyways, let me see. Brady is saying far right extremism is far more dangerous and led to far more loss of lives. Yeah, but doesn't mean that we shouldn't call out far left extremism when we see it as well. And I didn't suggest that you're saying that. In response, the protesters have begun demonstrating against the federal agents. And over the weekend, Portland saw some of the largest protests in weeks. Over the weekend, the federal agents, God, this is federal agents acting against the wishes of the state government. You know, the right-wing people that always cry out, state rights, what the hell? Like, where are they right now? Federal agents responded forcibly to the new protest. In one now viral video, a group made a wall of mothers to create a human shield between the protests and law enforcement before they were tear gassed by the feds. Protesters have also engaged in violence as well. See, this is what I'm calling this. I like this source because it gives you all sides. Like, it doesn't try to, like, I've seen other sources that, like, oh my God, like the federal agents are violent, but they never mention that some of the protesters are violent, right? But this article, I like this source because it tells you protesters have also engaged in violence as well, setting a police union building on fire Saturday and throwing projectiles at the officers. This is why I really like this source. It tells you everything, okay? Yeah, no, actually, Bradley is right, because if you add also Islamic extremism as far right, then far right is by far more violent than far left. In the live chat, can't the cake is a lie is saying, can the local police arrest the federal police? I don't know. Julian, if you troll, I'm gonna ban you from the live chat. Don't troll, okay? Okay, protest escalates. Violence erupted again at protests in Portland, Oregon throughout the weekend amid heightened security over the decision by Donald Trump administration to deploy federal law enforcement agents to the city. So this was Donald Trump's administration decision. So let's just make it clear, because this is okay. So this is basically right-wing anti-free speech actions coming straight from the government, right? So all the people that are saying, like, oh, free speech, like the woke cult on the left is against free speech, If they're not calling this out, then they're biased. They're either biased or they're not paying attention. Demonstrators against, I mean, again, I say that as somebody that is very much against the woke left. Like, let's just be clear about that for people who don't know what I do, okay? Demonstrators against racial injustice and police brutality have been ongoing in the city since the death of George Floyd in late May, though they began to dwindle after a few weeks. However, those movements recently regained momentum after the Trump administration sent agents from the Department of Homeland Security, Jesus Christ, Department of Homeland Security and the U.S. Marshal Service to the city at the beginning of July to crack down protesters. The move came as part of an executive order signed by President Trump at the end of June to protect federal statutes and direct DHS to create new task force. So the Department of Homeland Security right now is in charge of protecting statues. Why is this against Homeland Security? I'm not in favor of anybody vandalizing statues, but seriously, that's what the job of the Department of Homeland Security is? How is the Homeland Security being jeopardized? That's exactly what the local police is for. This is not the federal government's jurisdiction. What the hell? If this is not one of those things that the right-wing people you love to call as tyrannical, wouldn't they be calling out this as tyrannical if the federal government is trying to enforce laws that are supposed to be enforced by local police? Guys, if you want to make sure I read something, please tag Atheist Republic. I am biased towards the Twitch. Okay, Fazer saying, sounds like they are cracking down on the protesters really hard. Yeah, it gets worse. It gets worse. Since their deployment, the federal... I'll show you some videos once we get a little bit lower on this article. And then I also, in the second article, I'll show you some of the legal challenges about this. Mr. Critic is saying perhaps statues are federal property. Yeah, they might be federal. I mean, whether they are or not, this is not Homeland Security. I don't think they're federal property. No, they're not. Unless they're on federal land or something like that. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. Last week, the situation caught the eye of the national media when Oregon Public Broadcasting reported that unidentified... Okay, this is the key phrase here, okay? We had unmarked cars. You read that? Unmarked cars. And now we have unidentified federal agents, federal law enforcement agents in unmarked vehicles. So both the agents and their cars were unmarked, okay? The agents were unmarked, and their vehicles were unmarked. Do you know why that's so important? Okay? Do you know recently I got in trouble for saying that do not resist arrest? Okay? I told people, I posted that on Facebook and Twitter, resisting arrest is not a good idea. It could get you in trouble, right? Resisting arrest is illegal. Resisting arrest is illegal, and it could put anybody, white, black, Hispanic, Asian... It increases the chance of you getting shot, killed, or injured dramatically if you resist arrest, okay? But for you not to resist arrest, you have to know who is arresting you. Because if you can't tell who's arresting you, it's technically not an arrest. It's technically kidnapping. If somebody is kidnapping you, then legally you should be able to defend yourself. If you fight against somebody who's kidnapping you, you're not resisting arrest. You're just acting in self-defense. You should know that who are you? Are you just randomly showing up with a car that whose car is this? Who are you? With no marks, you could be pretending what the hell is going on? Like, this is not not supposed to happen in the United States. Come on, guys. Like, what the fuck? How can you tell the difference between resisting arrest and self-defense if the person carrying the arrest is not marked as a government official? Guys, by the way, just to be clear, I'm not a legal expert. Anything I say is not based on any legal expertise, so do not take any actions based on what I'm saying right now. Go do your own research. All the fucking disclaimers that is needed, just imagine that right now in your head. Okay, so if I'm saying there's no difference, there doesn't seem to be a difference between resisting arrest and self-defense, that's just my own personal opinion. I'm not encouraging you to resist anything at any time. And before you decide what to do, go figure out what's legal and what's not legal wherever, based on where you're living. Okay, all the fucking disclaimers that are required. Okay, this is my personal opinion, but that could be wrong, and if you make a wrong decision, you could be taking unnecessary risk, and you need to do your own research. This is how it's coming across to me. Okay, so it goes on that unidentified federal law enforcement agents in unmarked vehicles had been grabbing protesters off the street since at least July 14th. The report, which was supported by multiple videos and personal accounts, was later confirmed. Okay? Acting DHS, DHS is Department of Homeland Security. So, acting DHS Deputy Secretary Ken, some last name that I will not even pretend that I know how to pronounce, who told NPR on Thursday that federal agent had used unmarked vehicles to pick up people in Portland in order to keep officers safe and to move detainees to a safe location for questioning. You're not allowed to do that! To keep the officers safe? What the hell is that all about? So you're gonna completely, like, what about, oh, Jesus Christ, that's not a valid excuse. I mean, this is not right. Like, what about, like, everything that makes your country, like, what about all the norms and all the laws and all the processes that you have when it comes to arresting people? If you want to keep your officers safe, you have to find other ways than, hey, we're just going to come grab you without identifying ourselves in the street, like, to keep the officers safe. There are other ways to keep the officers safe than to just randomly going out and grabbing people that actually, if I'm hoping it mentions that people that were not even violent protesters. Like, if that's your line of justification, then we could get rid of the entire police and have, like, secret. You just justified having secret police. You're justifying secret police. This is like, what the hell? There's a reason why the police identify themselves. So, like, every time, like, this is the police. We're coming in. Police, police, police. They show their badges. Like, for the civilians to know who are they dealing with. You cannot just throw away. Again, this is the classic giving up liberty for security, that we have been dealing with since the ancient Rome. All the time. Scaring people. Like, the entire norms of the country and all the laws and all the regulations and all the ways that the systems and the institutions and the practices that made your country a better place than other places, you want to throw that off, or there's some protests here, we're scared, like, law and order is the flag that people, like, wave around to take away your rights. Law and order is important, but are you going to seriously give away national norms for law, like, for a bit more strict law and order in just one goddamn city? Is that really a fair give and take? There are other ways to do this. Oh, people are talking to me in the live chat. Brett Weinstein covered the same thing. These agents show their ID, but they do not tell you why they are taking you away. Well, we get into the details of these arrests lower. Robert is saying, plainclothes police make thousands of arrests every day. They are required to identify themselves as the arrest stars. That's what badges are for. Okay. We'll see. I'm happy to be corrected. Okay, this is my first reaction to this, but we'll go. I'm hoping it gets into more details and also some videos, and I'm happy to be corrected and change my views on this. This is just my first impressions. Okay, I'm doing this live with you guys. Kugler for saying right-wing YouTubers will never call this out. They want Trump to crush protesters from the left. Okay, I mean I've seen right-wing YouTubers. They don't mention. A lot of them are not mentioning what you guys are saying, right? They're just saying this is good. No, go. These are all of these protesters are like they act like all of these protesters are looters and violent, and they should all be treated the same way. And that's what I don't like. Okay, that's what I don't like. Okay, if the arrests are happening in a way that is actually justified, then I will be like, okay, yeah, I was wrong. These are justified, right? So far, that's not the reports I've been seeing. Is not. It hasn't been giving me that impression. But if it is, I would be like, okay, fine, never mind. This is all correct. Okay, we'll see. There's some videos lower. Frank is saying the FBI. Okay, the letters FBI on their jacket or vehicle is not identification. Such can and has been faked many times. They identify themselves at the time audibly and with document cards. We'll see. Okay, we'll go. We'll see. The report, which was supported by multiple videos and personal accounts, was later confirmed. Okay, we already read this. That information renewed criticism from the state and local leaders who have repeatedly demanded that the administration withdraw the federal agents. However, top DHS officials have doubled down, continually refusing to remove the feds and scapegoating the local leaders. In a highly charged press release issued, but whatever, what do you guys think in the live chat about this whole the federal government ignoring the state and city leaders and just bringing in their own agents against their wishes? Do you guys see that? Do you guys not see that as a form of diet tyranny? Hold on, let me see. Twitch live chat. By the way, guys, again, if you could follow us on Twitch and link to our Twitch in the description. I do a lot more live streams on Twitch that doesn't make it on YouTube, so check that out. Faison saying this whole unidentified agent and vehicles grabbing people is just a way for the government to do their dirty work. It's a thing here in Pakistan. Recently, a journalist named Matiullah was abducted. Well, I mean, to be fair, it's not close to what happens in Pakistan, but yeah. And also, I do think that this is just Trump, really desperately trying to fix the appeal to people because he's upset with the poll numbers. But we'll see. Oh, okay. So we're saying Jap bikers, so saying federal property, federal crime. Okay, so you're saying it's justified for the federal government to get in because these are federal property. Is that actually confirmed that these are all of these, like what? Like, because right now, I mean, the people that have been arresting, they're not, every single one of them is not destroying. I mean, come on, it's like collective punishment. Like some statues somewhere being destroyed. Let's go and arrest random protesters who are peaceful, like also peaceful protesters. Like, we'll see. Okay, it gets into more detail, so let's just hold on. In a highly charged press release issued Thursday, did I read that? Fuck, I have to. Yeah. Acting Homeland Security Secretary Chad Wolf claimed that it is the local leaders, not the feds, that are making the situation worse. He also defended their presence in the city, arguing that some protesters have been destroying a federal courthouse, which is federal property. Okay, so that goes back to what Jab Jab was saying. Federal property, federal crime. We'll see. A federal courthouse is a symbol of justice. To attack it is to attack America, he said. It's dude, this nationalist language makes me sick. Instead of addressing violent criminals in their communities, local and state leaders are instead focusing on placing blame on law enforcement and requesting fewer officers in their community. This failed response has only emboldened the violent mob as it escalates violence day after day. This siege can end if state and local officials decide to take appropriate action instead of refusing to enforce the law. DHS will not abdicate its solemn duty to protect federal facilities and those within them. He continued before going on to describe the lawless destruction and violence that has happened over the last 6 weeks in a list where he uses the phrase violent anarchist 72 times. Jesus. He also made similar remarks to NPR on Thursday. I fully expect that as long as people continue to be violent and to destroy property, that we will attempt to identify those folks, he said. We will pick them up in front of the courthouse. If we spot them elsewhere, we will pick them up elsewhere. So is he saying that only attacks on the federal property warrants an arrest? So basically, that means that even by their standards, they shouldn't have any justification to go after anybody, even if they're doing any type of destruction, if the destruction is not against a federal property. Am I reading that right? Is that your interpretation as well? That's standard law enforcement procedure, and it's going to continue as long as the violence continues. Let me see what you guys are saying about this. Oh, yay, following here. Great, somebody switched. Biddy switched from YouTube to Twitch as well. Great. Our Twitch is growing. Subscribe to Twitch while you're there. Mr. Critic is saying it's such a gray area and it could become a problem if Trump gets it. If Trump gets it his way and declare all protesters to be terrorists. Yeah, I mean that would be a major violation of free speech if he does that. I mean, even if he's not successful, just that coming up from a president is a major violation of free speech. Just announcing that's like incitement. Neil is saying the behavior of local leaders and rioters have opened the door for this. They knew this would happen and wanted it to happen to attack Trump. I really like how diverse our live chat is, right? This is a really healthy community that we have such a diverse set of opinions. Jab is saying, or that person might be an informant. They did not cuff him. Yeah. Well, okay. We'll see. I'm hoping it gets into more details. Here's the thing. If we don't have more proof of what these arrests are for, I'm willing to admit that maybe they were justified. But maybe, okay? It doesn't come across to me like that. But if I go to the very end of both of these articles and I'm not sure if they were justified or not justified, I'm hoping that Neil and Jap here as well will be also skeptical. Are you guys Trump supporters in the live chat that you guys saying this? Because if you're a Trump supporter, you shouldn't be like they were probably justified. You should also be like, I don't know if they were justified. Michael is saying he's claiming the statues of Confederate generals also who rebelled against the U.S. are federal property, even if they are owned by another organization. Trump is a racist and a fascist. Well, okay. But, I mean, is that true, guys? Like, because if the statues, like, are they actually federal property, or is he just declaring them federal property just because they're statues that are supposed to symbolize something? Do they actually are they legally owned by the federal government, or is just Trump coming up with an excuse to enforce these laws by just declaring them like an attack on the federal properties, because the courthouse is legally federal property, isn't it? All right, so let's continue. Videos go viral from protests. While the Trump administration has firmly said it will ignore the demands of local leaders and keep the feds in Portland, the protests have now grown and evolved in response to those agents staying in the city. According to protests, upwards of 1,000 people showed up to demonstrations this weekend, making the largest crowd the city has seen in weeks and producing several now viral videos. In one instance, a group made a wall of mothers, forming a human shield between the protests and law enforcement officials. They then stood their ground for a few hours until the feds began using tear gas and flashbangs to break up the crowd. You guys want to watch this video? The description of the video says, night 52 of protests in Portland saw a wall of mothers standing firm in line against camouflage-clad feds at the courthouse, chanting, "Stay clear, the moms are here, and leave our kids alone," right up until the tear gas and flashbangs resumed. Let me see, Neil. Michael is saying something. Michael I already read that. Hold on, let me see now. Let me know if you hear this when I play it, okay? Wait. Wait, did you guys see that? Did he just did he throw the tear gas directly at them? Oh no. Oh, what is this? Okay. Okay, can hear the video. Thank you for confirming. In another notable moment, that was on Twitch, by the way. Yes. In another notable moment, a Navy vet named Chris David called out a group of federal officers reportedly after they rushed a line of protesters and knocked them to the ground. Why are you not honoring your oath? Why are you not honoring your oath to the Constitution? David asks. Well, I mean, they're supposed to be following orders. I don't know. But I don't know what. Okay. David asks, walking again. I know people do horrible things in the name of following orders. So don't. Yeah. David asks, walking up to the officers who proceeded to beat him with a baton and sprayed chemical irritants into his face. According to reports, his hand was broken in 2 spots. Oh yeah, I saw this video. This is crazy. So it says, the description of this video says, the man in Portland video is Christopher David, a Navy veteran. He tells us he went to the protest for the first time to ask officers about the Constitution. He said his fingers are broken and he needs surgery. Here's the video. Oi. Okay, that was unnecessary. Come on, guys. Come on, that was unnecessary. He wasn't blocking them. He wasn't stopping them from doing their job. Do you guys, was that not, come on, guys. You can say that was unnecessary. Hold on, look at this. He's just standing there. Look, ow. What is that? Why? Come on, guys. No matter what side you're on, that was unnecessary. Do you guys agree? That was so unnecessary. Notably, there were also some instances of protesters becoming violent. See, this is a very unbiased article. I like this source, okay? Protesters were becoming, because it's mentioning the protesters becoming violent. On Saturday, Portland police declared a riot after the police union building was broken into and lit on fire. Protesters also tore down fencing around the federal courthouse. Yeah, it's a federal courthouse, okay? So this was federal property, okay? But what is happening? Are the federal agents only acting against the people that are attacking the federal property and nothing else? Is that actually the claim that they're making, and is that actually what's happening? Mr. Critique is saying, okay, now I understand. As I looked it up, Trump issued an executive order on June 26th to protect American statues, monuments, etc. Okay, Mr. Critique, but are these statues actually owned by the federal government? Or is Trump just using that? Is just Trump declaring them federal property, or like he's just, or something like that? Like, are all of them, like, does not, like, do we have not state or city governments with statues? And state and city governments also have statues. Is he going to bring federal agents to defend those as well? Because that, I mean, is in this executive order could be used like, okay, so here's how, okay, here's how you could, if that's the executive order, this is how you could increase your domain as the federal government over every city and state. Okay, this is how you could take away states' rights, right? You could be like, federal statues are my property, and any vandalization against them is justifies bringing in federal agents, right? And then at the same time, let's build federal statues in every goddamn corner of the country. So basically, it's kind of like just build them everywhere, and then by the extent of this executive order, now federal agents can stay there to protect them, right? Isn't that like kind of like, wouldn't every statue then become like a flag of the federal government, taking away authority from the state government by doing so? It's a presidential executive order. Yeah, same executive orders that when Obama did, they called him a tyrant. Michael is saying he's declaring them federal property to appeal to his base. Okay, so see, so they're not all of them are federal property. He's just like declaring them like, yeah, this is ours and we need to protect them. Why? It's not even yours. It's not your domain. Get the hell out of here. You shouldn't have any authority. I guess it's up to the court to decide. Yeah, and there has been a lawsuit. We'll get to the lawsuit. Notably, there were also, okay, I read that. Why I keep forgetting where I left. President Trump, for his part, has repeatedly praised the federal law enforcement officers in Portland and indicated that he would like to increase their presence in other U.S. cities. Come on, guys. Like, this is everything that anti-Obama tyrant accusing people. This is everything they feared that never happened. Trump wants to increase federal agents' presence in other U.S. cities. This is exactly the worst nightmare right-wing people had about Obama. On Sunday, and now they're clapping. Now they're like, "Yay, law and order!" On Sunday, Trump defended the decision to utilize the agents in a tweet. "We are trying to help Portland, not hurt it," he wrote. "Their leadership has for months lost control of the anarchists and the agitators. And they are missing in action. We must protect federal property and our people. These were not merely protesters. These are the real deal." Well, the people chose you as a president to run the federal government. If they're unhappy, and they should be, I agree that they should be happy with their state or mayors or whatever, state governors, and they could re-elect them if they wish to do so. And if they like what they see, it's their choice to pick more of the same. Who are you to come and tell them how to run their state or their city, right? Oh, I already read this. This was already mentioned above. Okay, so I want to read this one. So this is about the legality of all of it. Let me check out the live chat first a little bit. Afshin is saying, "Hi Armin, good to see I caught your live on time for once. I actually got a notification. Yes, maybe YouTube is finally showing us some love. This shows that what Trump's conception of power is." Neil is saying, "There's no winners here." What is it? What are you saying? Percentage of the far left want the violence and disruption. Those on the far right will utilize the behavior for their ideology. Ultimately, it's votes for Trump. Yeah, I mean, this is an attempt for Trump to get votes. I mean, honestly, it really shows how much Trump fucked up for him to be this down on the polls, because these woke cult people, in any other situation, the woke cult people were making it so easy for him to come and win as the law and order president and the anti cancel culture president. But with all the gifts that the woke cult is giving to Trump has been so horrible at everything that even with all these gifts, he's still so far behind on the polls. I'm hoping, and again, this is not a prediction, this is a hope, that if Trump loses, because again, the Trump and the woke, they complement each other, they keep passing the ball to each other. Trump wants to, the woke people are just waiting for Trump to say something so that they could just pounce on it and become more relevant. And Trump kind of needs these woke people to do some other crazy shit so that he could be like, oh, I'm going to defend you against these crazy lunatics, so that he could be more, so that more people, he becomes popular. So I'm hoping that if Trump loses, one side of this equation will be taken out and the woke people will have less. I mean, they will still have a whole bunch of things to pounce on, but there will be less things that they could be calling out. Like, I'm hoping that Trump losing will de-escalate a lot of these polarization. Mr. Crit is saying, I'm not on Trump's side. I'm actually Marco from Twitch. Yes, Marco from Twitch. I'm just providing you with information as always. Yes, you do. You do. You're so helpful. Thank you, Marco. Trump said he may not accept the results if he loses in his Fox News interview. He doesn't have to, like, what is he going to do? Huh? He can't just like, oh, I don't accept the results. Yeah, okay, great. Let's have fun watching the military come and remove you. Yeah. He's not going to be able to do anything other than cry about it if he loses. You're like, oh, it was unfair. It was rigged. It's unfair. This is not what happened. Like, oh my God, that would be so much fun to watch. Okay, so what does this article say? Feds prepare to deploy in Chicago and Oregon. Oregon AG sues over civil rights violations, citing kidnapping style. This is what I'm saying. Kidnapping style detainments. Okay, so this is. Let's see if you guys were right. If the arrests were more actual, like closer to a legal, justified arrest, or closer to kidnapping. Okay. All right, let's see. I'm not going to read the bullet points because they're just going to repeat what we're going to read. So I'm just going to jump right into it. DHS. So the Department of Homeland Security is planning to send around 150 federal agents into Chicago this week, according to Chicago Tribune. If true, the move would follow federal agents' presence in Portland, Oregon. So this is like after Portland. Now they're doing Chicago, a city that has been the subject of non-stop massive protests for nearly 2 months. Man, I wish I was in Portland right now. I would have been right deep in there with my camera recording all of this stuff and interviewing people. There would be so much. Okay. Those agents were first deployed following a June 26 executive order from President Donald Trump that seeks to protect federal monuments, statues, and memorials. Okay, so none of these say that he's protecting federal monuments. So what does this mean? Federal monuments, like they should be owned by the federal government, right? In Chicago, the scope of DHS is currently unknown. Yeah, none of this is clear. Somebody needs to clarify. I mean, even if come on, Homeland Security, what does that got to do with statues? Like, isn't that ridiculous to you guys? Like, don't you guys think this is like an excuse to just increase your domain over somewhere that you shouldn't be? Even if you think that these are federal property, so it's federal government's job, the Department of Homeland fucking Security, like, whoa. Okay, according to an anonymous immigration and customs enforcement official, the deployment will include ICE agents. Really, ICE agents. However, that official said those agents would not be involved in immigration or deportation matters as part of the deployment. Like Portland, Chicago has also been a grounds for massive protests since late May when George Floyd died. Yeah. It's also possible that federal agents won't stop with just Portland or Chicago. Come on, guys. This is they should have no authority in any of these places. In a leaked memo data from July 16, DHS said, moving forward, if this type of response is going to be the norm, specialized training and standardized equipment should be deployed to responding agencies. Guys, if this does not scare you as violations of as a threat to freedom of assembly, freedom to protest, I mean, even if you think that we don't have proof right now that this is a violation of your free speech, you should be like, okay, what the fuck? Like, can we whoa, like, you guys should be like, no, hold on. Like, even if it should be at least a giant red flag, come on. Like, even if you're a Trump supporter and also a supporter of free speech, can you not at least admit that this is like a bigger red flag than all the cancel culture issues combined? Can you say that? Any Trump supporters want to admit to that? Marco, I'm just going to call you Marco. Yes, it's such a slippery slope to deploy Homeland Security. It could end up with protesters being classified as terrorists and being disappeared without legal remedies. I mean, even if it doesn't go there, it's already like intimidation against freedom of against peaceful protests, right? They're not just like, this is already, come on, guys, like, a few statues is not worth limiting protests. Like, no matter, you could call out the rioters and the looters and the people who are doing violence, but and you could also mention that the protesters do not know what they're talking about and they're calling out for the wrong solutions and they don't even understand what the problem is, or you could say all of that. But a society that has constant, that protesting in it is easy, that people feel encouraged to protest against the government, to hold the government accountable through protest, is a healthier society. Anything that even seems like it's coming between that, between peaceful protests, trying to stop that, it should be challenged. Should be like, yeah, we have some looters and some, bad actors, but if getting rid of those is going to threaten such an important practice and such an important value, even from people who we disagree with, you know what? Fuck the statues. Like, I mean, the police and the law enforcement are never going to be 100% perfect at stopping every goddamn crime. You're only going to be able to stop all violations of crime if you have given up very important rights, if you have given up on your liberty to an extent that you have 100% security and no crime, and it's not, that trade-off is never worth it. That trade-off is never worth it, because what, you're scared of, you're taking away the authority from a few bad actors among them, from the mob, and giving it to an authority, which is the government, which is a lot more scarier. Yeah, okay. Yeah, great to have you too, BD. Then thank you for following us on Twitch. Again, guys, we're on Twitch as well. Link is in the description. I do more live streams there than on YouTube, so follow us on Twitch. Where was I? I remember sending cities. Okay, read that part. Won't stop into the spot. In a leaked memo data. Yeah, we read that. I think we read that. Yeah, okay, we read that. Okay, on Friday, the Oregon Department of Justice announced in a letter that State Attorney General, oh, that's what AG is for. Oregon Attorney General. Okay, AG means Attorney General. State Attorney General Ellen Rosenblum would soon be filing a lawsuit in response to accusations that people were being taken off the streets and put into vans by unmarked police officers. So, guys, you guys are saying that the unmarked police officers did identify themselves. I mean, I don't know how you could. Can anybody just come and identify themselves of whatever they want? How would you know? Like, this isn't this why we need, like, you have to have like a normalized, people are just okay. The uniform and the identification and the marking on the police. The local police is known to people so that they recognize it, like, as somebody, as it needs to be something that people are familiar with. I mean, I don't know if these people who were arrested were told who are they being arrested by, but even if they did, like, wow, like, what the hell, who is this agency? I don't recognize this agency. Like, if you're in, it needs to be the local police. That's why it needs to be the local police, isn't it? Like, even if it's not local police, people like at least recognize the FBI, right? That's why the FBI always shows their badge and people recognize that badge. You can't just be like, oh, I'm from the QTH federal agency, and yeah, I don't have any recognizable uniform, and my car is just a van, but this is a legitimate federal agency, and I'm going to put a bag on your head right now, and you have to come with us. And if you resist, that would be resisting arrest. Like, am I like, okay, like, what is that? How it works? Neil saying it's setting a precedent soon. Setting a precedent as soon as the worst federal and attack gets dropped, Trump can send police in. Wait, what does that mean? It's setting a precedent. Soon as the worst federal and attack get dropped, Trump can send people in. Oh yeah. Yes, I get it. Okay, Marco is saying it could become like Eastern Europe during communism. People picked up by unmarked cars in the middle of the street, never be seen again. I'm already worried, even if it doesn't get there. This is already a bad precedent. It's already alarming. Allah saying, "Oh, wow, we have somebody from the occupied West Bank here. Trump has lost the plot." What do you mean Trump has lost the plot? Did he ever have the plot? I hope the U.S. does not descend into anarchy. No, it won't. It won't. But this is, again, it doesn't have to descend to anarchy for us to be able to, for this to be alarming. Okay. Like, do not be like a doomsday, like, oh my God, this is going to be like this, and then the whole society, everything is going to break apart. I'm going to have civil war, and then we're going to have, like, it's going to be like, I don't know, as bad as Iran or anarchy. No, it doesn't have to be that. It's not, I don't think, it's very unlikely for it to ever become like that, at least not within our lifetime. But we shouldn't be like, it's bad. It shouldn't be that bad for us to be worried. This is already bad. This is already bad in the country that is supposed to be the champion of free speech to all other countries. You don't have to be like, oh, this could get worse for this to be alarming. In the country that is the champion of free speech, to have unmarked federal agents to come and grab you and put you in unmarked cars and take you away, this is bad. Okay, this is already holy shit moment. You know, we don't have to worry about a slippery slope situation. This is already fucked up. Hi. Later that same day, Rosa. Oh yeah, no, I forgot to read this part. The Oregon DOJ alleges that federal authorities overstepped their power and injured or threatened peaceful protesters on the streets of downtown Portland. Okay, so again, this is coming from an attorney general. Okay, so I mean, so it's justified to be worried that they overstepped their powers and that they were grabbing peaceful protesters, not the rioters, not the looters, not the people who were doing violence or any of that. Peaceful protesters. Later that same day, Rosenblum confirmed that she had filed that lawsuit. Okay, so good. So now that we have a lawsuit, we don't have to really wonder. We could see where this lawsuit goes. Notably, it was filed against a number of agencies, including the DHS, Customs and Border Protection, the U.S. Marshal Service, and the Federal Protection Service. The lawsuit also lists 10 unidentified individuals as defendants. Handmaid's Tale. Shut up, you. Look at this guy. Somebody's saying, "Shut up, you whining, limp-wristed sissy." Wow, very, very, very helpful comment. On information, okay, this is the quote by her. On information and belief, John Does 1 to 10 are employed by the am I reading this right? This is legal mumbo jumbo. Are employed by the United States government in law enforcement capacity. The lawsuit states they have made it impossible for them to be individually identified by carrying out law enforcement actions without wearing any identifying information, even so much as the agency that employs them. See, like, okay. The people that say they identified themselves, if they can't even be identified by government agents, look, how could you hold? This is why when they come and arrest you, they have to do a shit ton of paperwork after every goddamn time. Like, everything is recorded. Oh, it was this person arresting this person for this reason. Your rights are read to you. Oh, this was me. I'm doing this for this reason, and this is who I am. This is who you are. Blah blah blah. This is why local police do that, because the government is held accountable for everything they do. Okay, these people. People have no clue who the fuck these people were. Like, this is like reducing the standards of how the United States government operates by light years. Like, I mean, come on. Like, this is like, yeah, this is. You guys have to be. This is. If you are worried, if you think a few statues being destroyed is a bigger threat to your country than the new precedent that is being set by the Trump administration, then you have no idea. Your priorities are not in the right place. Again, I say that as somebody that thinks that people who destroy the statues are criminals. Okay, if you don't like a statue, you have to, you vote and you get people in charge that remove the statues. You file a complaint. You get people. You legally remove the statues or whatever. You don't vandalize and crap like that. So I say that as somebody that thinks that those statues being vandalized is criminal, I think it's nothing. It's not. It's stressing over that is nothing compared to this. I think I could be wrong. Overall, Rosenblum accuses these agencies of engaging in lawful law enforcement tactics that threaten the civil rights of people in Oregon. So this is a quote by her. Federal law enforcement officers, including John Doe's 1 to 10. What is this 1 to 10? John Doe's 1 to 10 have been using unmarked. Wait, didn't I just read this? Oh no, this is something else. Using unmarked vehicles to drive around downtown Portland, detain protesters, and place them into the officers' unmarked vehicles, removing them from public without either arresting them or stating their basis for an arrest since at least Tuesday, July 14th. They didn't even tell them what they're being arrested for. And they're just driving around and arresting people. Like, is this really defending federal property? Doesn't sound like it. Let me see. Hillbilly saying many keep claiming things like rights violations as terrorists. They will know. Is this proper English? They will now be tried. I think you mean by the constitutions. Military tribunals will pass much of the judgment. I don't know what are you saying. Actually, sorry, Hillbilly. As terrorists, they will. Okay, if you're claiming that all of the protesters, including the peaceful ones, are terrorists, then I don't know what's wrong with you. David Thorne. Okay, I don't know why there's a whole bunch of hashtags now in the live chat. Despite this, oh wait, oh shit, they didn't read their Miranda rights. Specifically, the lawsuit references Mark Pettibone, a man who spoke. Wait, is there a video of this? Hold on. Yes, there is video. We'll get to the video. Specifically, the lawsuit references Mark Pettibone, a man who spoke to the Washington Post after claiming to have been confronted by men dressed in camouflage, who then pushed him into an unmarked van on July 15. Pettibone was reportedly taken to the Mark Hatfield United States Courthouse, where he was read his Miranda rights. Okay, he was read his Miranda rights. Correct me if I'm wrong. Aren't you supposed to be read your Miranda rights at the point of arrest? Like, isn't it supposed to be legally? Like, people can't just come and forcibly take you away from you and then go somewhere else and read your Miranda rights? Aren't they supposed to, like, right then and there where the arrest is happening, to be reading your Miranda rights? Isn't that the law? Marco is saying this approach is known as scare tactics, and I'm worried for the things to come. Grew up in a communist regime, not the worst one, but still I can see where this could be heading. Baby Jesus is saying 1984. Hillbilly saying Miranda rights are only for interrogation. I don't know if you're right, but I've seen the local police, when they do it on the spot, on every arrest. Despite maybe I'm wrong. Despite this, Pettibone has maintained that he was never told why he was arrested, and that after he refused to speak to police without the presence of a lawyer, he was released without any paperwork, citation, or record of his arrest. See, this is the new precedent that we're setting. Again, I am skeptical of everything I'm reading. Everybody could be lying. Both sides could be lying. I know. I'm just going by Occam's razor. Okay. So if news later comes out like, oh, this guy was lying, and you believe them, no, all the skepticism on everything here applies. Okay. According to the Post, U.S. Customs and Border Protection later took responsibility for Pettibone's detainment. The lawsuit goes on. Okay, let me tell you guys, this is why I know this is like, don't exaggerate how big of a problem this is. Like, people are like, oh my God, anarchy in the US, or oh my God, this is as bad as like, I don't know, Soviet Russia. I mean, I know that Marco did not say Soviet Russia. He said like he brought some milder examples. But I've seen some people saying, oh, this is as bad as China, or some people even saying this is as bad as Iran. I mean, come on, guys. The fact that in United States, you had one or two cases like this, and another government official is bringing a lawsuit against it. This is not something you could do in China, Iran, you know, Soviet Russia or stuff like that. Okay, so we are, even though this is alarming and should be called out, you are light years away from anything close to that. You have another government official filing a lawsuit against the federal government. This is a sign of a healthy society, but again, that doesn't mean that this shouldn't be a red flag for you guys. Okay. Miss Marco is saying Miranda is supposed to be read immediately after placing somebody under arrest. Yeah, that's what I thought. Hillbilly is disagreeing with you, saying only if they plan to on interrogating later. Well, if they weren't planning for interrogating, what the hell were they doing? Just taking them for a joyride? Okay. The lawsuit goes on to allege that the other citizens besides Pettibone have also been detained without warning or explanations, without a warrant, and without providing any way to determine who is directing the action. See, so we have examples of people who didn't even identify themselves, who did the arrest even without identifying themselves. Again, I'm glad that this lawsuit we will know how accurate this is when this lawsuit is being investigated. The lawsuit argues that these agencies are injuring citizens by taking away their ability to determine whether or not they're being kidnapped or arrested. I said that before even reading this. That's exactly the first thing that came to my mind when I first read this. When I first read not this, but when I first saw people talking about it. How could you tell the difference between an arrest or a kidnapping if you have no fucking idea who's doing the so-called arrest, right? And more importantly, I don't know if it's going to mention anything like that. If you can't tell the difference between an arrest and a kidnapping, how can you tell the difference between whether you're doing self-defense or you're resisting arrest? For example, if a person is kidnapped, they are legally allowed to engage in self-defense. Oh my God! See, I said exactly what these legal experts are saying. I'm so smart. Sorry. For example, if a person is kidnapped, they are legally allowed to engage in self-defense. However, if that person is arrested by police, they could be charged with resisting arrest for the same action. Yes! That's why Rosenblum is asking for federal agents to be required to identify themselves and their agency before making an arrest. What do you mean you're requesting them? What do you mean? It sounds like, oh yeah, this is bad. Let's not do this anymore. This is already should have been like, yeah, we shouldn't be doing this ever. Like, why is this even a request? This is making me angry. Again, guys, if the best you can expect, which is right now United States when it comes to rights of people, if the best gets the standards for what is the best role model gets lower, every other country goes down with it. Guys, I follow a lot of Iranian rights human rights activists and the other side, people who defend, for example, the Islamic Republic of Iran. You have no idea how big of a win this is for people who are anti-American, right? And defending the Islamic Republic and against the activists against like authoritarian governments or other places. And how much this whole among the people who are fighting for human rights and who are disappointed, for example, in Iran, how sad they will be. Like, oh, they're like, I guess we can't. I guess every government is, I guess we can't complain too much. Like even in United States, they're doing like they see these videos and stuff like that. See, like this is so sad. You have no idea how big of a loss this is to everywhere. Anyways, this is pissing me off. Where did I read to? In addition to this lawsuit, the Oregon DOJ is also seeking a temporary restraining order to prevent federal authorities from unlawfully detaining people in the state. Why is it so easy for the federal government to just whoop come right in? But it's like, oh, let's do this, like do this request and file this report and that paperwork to just get them to back the fuck off. Like it's just like, it should be the other way around. It should be like if you want the federal government to come in, you have to file a whole bunch of paperwork and a whole bunch of legal experts have to go through it and be like, okay. Like, oh, these are the main conditions. And they should be like, oh, the stars have to align a certain way. And every, a thousand legal requirements have to be checked mark. And then, okay, fine. Maybe the federal government can step in right now. It seems like it's the other way around. Like Trump, like, oh, federal government, step right in. And now the people who want to make them go back, they seem to be having to do all the star aligning and paperwork. Like, if you want liberty, it should be the other way around. Armin, attorney at law, he'll be saying arresting is constitutional. Hostages are military. One, okay, come on, this is not a military situation. One tried in court of law under the constitutions, the other is tried in a military tribunal. This is no place for a military tribunal. What are you talking about? This is a local issue. Why would they have a military tribunal for anything like this? They have no authority here. Baby Jesus is saying exactly, and Putin and G will be watching Trump's executive order. Yes. Also on Friday, the American Civil Liberties Union Foundation of Oregon filed a separate lawsuit against DHS and the United States Marshals Service in an attempt to block federal law enforcement from dispersing, arresting, threatening to arrest, or using physical force against journalists and legal observers. This is the quote by that other lawsuit. This is a fight to save our democracy, Kelly Simon, the interim legal director of Oregon's ACLU, said, under the direction of the she continues by saying, under the direction of the Trump administration, federal agents are terrorizing the community, risking lives, and brutally attacking protesters. Demonstrating against police brutality. Protesters demonstrating against police brutality. These federal agents must be stopped and removed from our city. I like the other legal lawsuit better. It seemed like a less emotional than this one. This one, it seems like, oh, look, seems like the language of it is more like a virtue signaling. But I'm hoping, but it's good to have, the legality of federal occupation. Okay, good. Here, I want to get to the video soon. Is that the last? Yeah, the video is of what we will end this on. The legality of federal occupation. Here, so this is where it comes down to. Everything we discussed comes down to this. DHS was formed after the September 11, 2001 attacks. Just say 9/11 attacks. And since then, its job has mainly been to handle national security threats from abroad, as well as broader security. Since Trump took office, it has largely carried out his immigration policies. However, with Portland, its presence has been more focused on law and order. For example, some of the agents deployed in Portland are part of a group known as BORTAC, or Border Patrol's equivalent of SWAT team. Notably, it's a highly trained group that is normally tasked with investigating drug smuggling organizations as opposed to protesters in cities. As a result, city and state officials have raised questions about whether it's overstepping local law enforcement. So this is a quote by Chris Davis, who says, "I don't have authority to order federal officers to do things." Portland Deputy Police Chief Chris Davis said, "It does complicate things for us." No shit. For his part, Trump has argued that he sent in federal agents because Portland police have failed to adequately respond to the protests. Despite that, the leaked internal DHS memo from Thursday stated that those federal officers haven't been trained in riot control or mass demonstrations. Man, if Trump stays in office, he's going to make his own anti-demonstration federal agency, isn't he? Jesus Christ, man. A DHS spokesperson said on Sunday that the missions of these federal agents were aligned with their appropriate training and that officers receive additional training for their deployment in the city to assist the federal protective service. Still, that hasn't convinced Democrats. In fact, Sunday, several House Democrats penned a letter to the Inspector General of the DOJ and DHS. In it, they called for an investigation into the use of federal law enforcement agencies by the Attorney General and the Acting Secretary of Homeland Security to suppress First Amendment protected activities in Washington, D.C., Portland, and other communities across the United States. This shouldn't be even required. There should be some wall between the federal government and protesters and a gate that will be very hard to open. Like there should be some very strict requirements. I mean, I'm not saying shut the door completely to the federal government, but it needs to be like the de facto state should be like the federal government has no authority unless these requirements are met. So the fact that these people are trying to come and hold this back, to me, suggests that the checks and balances that were not there. Like this is like a weakness that needs to be introduced in the United States, I think. In a counter to it needs to be introduced in the United States, I think. Okay, so here's some good hopes. At least, because before I read this, I must say a lot of people who keep saying that the libertarians and want limited government haven't been calling this out, but at least Senator Rand Paul has done so. Senator Rand Paul, a Republican, has denounced the Trump administration's use of federal agents in Portland, saying we cannot give up liberty for security. Exactly. This is the main, guys, are people not, do people not see this? Isn't this memed for hold on, here, let me show you guys something. This is such a, whoa, what did I do? Where is the, let me show you guys security versus freedom. This is the theme of so many movies and and real history. People oh my God, security, and then giving up people's freedom. Hold on, let me show you a picture that I like to use. I should have used this in the thumbnail. I like this picture. Oh. Do you guys see this? This is French. Let me know if you see this. This theme. This is a story. This is it seems like you're just playing the same tape over and over again. Hold on, let me read some top comments before I go to read that tweet. Anybody? Okay, none of you guys are just arguing with each other. None of these is for me, right? Anyways, let me actually read the last part of this, and then is this a video? This is not even a video. I thought it was a video. I'm sure there's a video somewhere in here. Oh, I should have read the tweet before. Oh yeah, there is a video here. Let me just I'll play some videos after I read the tweets. Okay. Rand Paul said, "We cannot give up liberty for security. Local law enforcement can and should be handling these situations in our cities, but there is no place for federal troops or unidentified federal agents rounding people up at will." All right, so at least some people who claim to be libertarians are calling this out, so not all is lost. Let's play this video. What is this? Let me see. There are a couple of videos that I want to play. I'll just play 2 videos of what happened with these federal agents, and then we'll end it right there. The Sparrow Project is saying militarized federal agents from patchwork, is that how you read it, of outside agencies have begun policing Portland in rented minivans without the explicit approval of the mayor, the state, or local municipalities. Ugh. This is what that looks like in practice. Oh, sorry. Hold on. Let's play this. Let me know if you hear it.
What are you doing? Use your words. What are you doing? Use your words. What are you doing?
I haven't done anything wrong.
Use your words.
What's going on? Show me.
What is going on?
We need to know.
Who are you?
Why are you taking?
NLG will get you out. What's your name? Tell us your name.
What's your name?
Okay, you're fine. We'll get you out.
Bro, what?
We got you, friend.
We got you.
The fuck?
NLT.
You just violated their rights.
Oh. Kidnapping people.
You just violated.
So look, the car is unmarked. It's just a van. And they didn't, like you. Some people were saying earlier that they identified themselves, show them that, give them identification. They didn't identify themselves. They didn't say who they are. They didn't say why he was being arrested. They just came and took him, and it wasn't clear what agency they were in. And they took him into a car that is like it's just like a minivan. It's like there's no marking on it at all. Like, what the fuck? Like come on. This is not, this is, I mean, if you worry about cancel culture and you're not worried about this, then I don't know what your priorities are. And again, I'm happy to come out and be like, oh my God, I was wrong, if some context is provided that makes this okay. But right now, I cannot imagine any context that makes this okay. I'm happy to be proven wrong, and we'll come out and be like, oh my God, I was wrong. But I cannot imagine the context right now that makes this okay. This should be alarming to you as an American and anyone else. Here's another one. So this tweet is saying several attempts were made by this mixed bag of federal officers, marshals, border patrols, HSI to grab people out of dwindling crowds. At least 2 people were detained in this manner, and both may be released as of this time. Working to confirm. Hold on, let's see what happened.
How are we supposed to know who you are? How are we supposed to know you're not kidnapping us and you're civilians kidnapping us?
I mean, that was a very legitimate question. Like, who the fuck are you? Like, can anybody just not go and wear some camouflage uniform and get a van and just go show up to random people and be like you're coming with us? Like, is that like, how do I know like you're the government? Like, what is happening? Oh my God. Yeah, guys, that's insane. I'm sorry, but that's insane. Mark is saying, Jesus Christ, this looks like some futuristic movie. AGA is saying, the jackboot brown shirts are alive and well and living in the US. I mean, it's not that yet or ever, but it's still bad. It's still bad. Again, it doesn't have to be. All right, guys. So I covered this. I wanted my conscience to be clear so that I'm not going, like, if I'm calling out the woke Histani Mujahideen, again, I have to give credit to Rivka every time I say that, okay? If I'm calling out the woke cult and I'm not calling out this crap, I would not be able to sleep at night, okay? Even if I'm wrong, I'm happy to be proven wrong. It's better for me to come and call this out as a red flag that I'm scared of and I'm sure I'm alarmed off about. I don't know. And then come out later and be like, shit, I was wrong, sorry, full context, right? It's better to, like, I mean, given the context that we have, we should be alarmed, right? We should be like, holy fuck, what the hell is happening? This doesn't seem right. And then you could later on be like, okay, fine, I was wrong. It's better, but to not raise the alarm on this just because you could, against all odds, some crazy context makes this all okay, which I don't think it will. But to not raise an alarm against that, because hey, like anything else that we raise alarm against, this also could be in context. It could be like oh, like we could be like, oh, China, like everything that we thought is just propaganda and lies, and Occam's razor suggests that it isn't, and it's all true. But there's always some room for skepticism. But that some small room for skepticism shouldn't stop us from applying Occam's razor and raising the alarm when it seems like we should. And if I didn't do it against this, while I do it against the woke cult, I wouldn't be able to live with myself, right? And I don't understand how so many other people who are against the woke cult not only they're not calling it out, they're defending this. They wouldn't be defending this if Obama was doing this. Right? So if you're like a libertarian, or if you're against against cancel culture, or if you're for free speech, or any of those things, you don't have to be all of them, just any of those things. And if you're following content creators that are also for those things, and they're calling out the lefts, the crazies on the left, but they're not calling this out, go out and call them out on this. I'm like, hey, what happened to your standards? Like, isn't this a greater threat to our rights? And why? And be suspicious of those people that are not calling this out. I mean, it's okay to not call it out if you just say, like, yes, I know it's happening, but that's not my attention and my focus, because people can focus on whatever they want. But if they're not even acknowledging it, to me, it seems like they're just I don't know. I would be suspicious of people who are not giving you the full picture. Anyways, I'm going to go. It's fun hanging out with you guys. Again, guys, follow Atheist Republic on Twitch. Link in the description. We have a Discord server now. Go to the Discord server. I have plans for the Discord server. I'm going to use the Discord server as a place for people to recommend videos. Oh, yeah, we need to create a channel in the Discord server for recommendations, for videos for me to review on Atheist Republic. So go join the Discord server. I'm going to add that recommendation channel soon. And yeah, subscribe to our newsletter. Newsletter is in the description, because if we lose our platform, if we lose our YouTube or Facebook or Twitter because of the cancel culture crap, I need to be able to know that I won't lose you guys. Okay, I could still be in touch with you guys. So nobody can take our newsletter away from us. Nobody. So that's the only guarantee. So subscribe to our newsletter. Anyways, love you guys. Thank you for hanging out with me. I love you. Thank you for disagreeing with me. It always makes it more fun. And talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.